And we are live. What is good, everyone? If you can see, yeah, I've got a band-aid. Well, let's just say I popped a pimple and it started bleeding. So, yeah. Anyway, welcome, everyone. So far, we have no one, but This is welcome to the few people in the future who are going to end up watching this. I'm going to give everyone a second to join because I know that there are probably people who do want to join. Just check on the YouTube. And this week has been a quite eventful week news-wise so far. All right. I'll just see. I'm just going to go check on to see anything. So far, we don't have any viewers. I don't know, maybe we do. Maybe it's just not registering. But welcome anyway. Okay, so we have a broad range of topics. From the Mario movie to the interview, we've got Elon Musk, updates on Russia and Ukraine. We've got so much to talk about today. So I'm going to give for a couple more minutes to see, because I know probably other people are live streaming right now. So I want to give people a chance to I'm just going to say, yeah. And as time goes on, we're going to have more people. Like there's going to definitely, I might have to change the time I do this at because people are probably busy. I don't know. Remember, I am. Also, on my community tab, there's a post. How many of you are subscribed? Please, whenever you're watching this, go over to there and click yes or no. But anyway, just going through and seeing. I think it's time to get under. I'm just going to see. All right. Given another minute. See if people are going to join in. All right, so let us get into our first topic today, which is the Mario movie. So the Super Mario Bros. Movie, I haven't seen it yet. Yes, I've been wanting to, but I haven't. So we can see the audience When this first came out, and when I saw that score was bad, but I saw this one, the actual audience score, I knew this movie was good. Because ever since The Last Jedi, which is one of the worst films I've ever seen ever, and The Last Jedi is so bad. Oh, the Super Mario Bros. Movie looks to be doing very well. Oh, and let me actually get because it's breaking. Apparently, it's been breaking every record. And this is from Variety. So, and this was the 10th, and so 2 days ago, a blockbuster. It is a blockbuster or film, and dropping this month 204.6 million and 377 million, and so this is domestic. This is globally, and it's on track to hit $1 billion. It's on track to hit $1 billion, and then you see you've got people like John Leguizamo, who is such a woke, and they're mentioning the live action one, which is, I've heard it's pretty bad. I've never seen it. I've heard it's bad. It's got Bob Hoskins, rest in peace. But looks like it's going to hit because it's broken the record that Frozen 2 had broken. And it's doing very well. I have to say, this Universal Studio are doing very well. And they've got Five Nights at Freddy's coming out. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And never know. Maybe they'll bring the franchise back from the dead. I know Wings of Chains left a pretty bad taste in 2004, but you never know. Maybe we just need to pitch the idea to the universe. Well, perhaps. I mean, I'll probably put a poll up layers asking if we should pitch to Universal that we should revive the Vault Patrol, but that's not the point. The point is that Universal are crushing, and we've got two. So Universal's two biggest animated studios are DreamWorks and Illumination. DreamWorks last year released two hit films, The Bad Guys and my personal favorite, Puss in Boots 2, which I watched over the weekend with my family at home. And I have to say, my parents, they liked it a lot. I liked it a lot. A lot of people did. Gives me confidence that Shrek 5 is going to do well because that was announced. That gives me a lot of confidence. And I mean, also on the park front, Universal are just creating good family-friendly content. We've got to not only, because I know we're creating our own content, and we got to continue to do that, but we also have to support these creator studios, give them money when just to let them know, hey, we like it when you don't put any intersectional politics in. Meanwhile, Disney are going to have The Little Mermaid and I've got another challenge. So I want Peel, when the Little Mermaid comes out, we should all, and I'll probably do this, but we should all try and just get the score of the Little Mermaid who up as a joke, just to troll Disney and the wokesters, and also try and get the viewership and increase scores for the original animated Little Mermaid film, if you know what I'm saying. I think that would be good. I think we could definitely troll them. Just an idea. Probably isn't the best idea, but it's something. But that's neither here nor there. I am very glad. I'm very glad what I'm seeing. But that isn't our only thing. And I think our next topic should be the Elon Musk. He did an interview with, which I saw this morning. I initially wasn't going to cover, but I will cover that. So stop sharing. I'm going to bring up. I saw him just own this shill report from the BBC earlier today. Oh my God, Elon Musk, man. For a while, I did want him to be Trump's Secretary of State if Trump were to, assuming they let Trump back in. And we are going to talk a bit more about 2024. So let me actually present, share screen, share. All right, let's get this.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content, and I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't need. Honestly, I
don't. You can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore because I just don't particularly like it.
But you said
actually, a lot of people are quite similar.
I don't particularly use that feed anymore. Yet I think there's hateful content. What is this? What is he talking about? And I'm sorry if any of you viewers are from the UK, but holy moly, Mom, these people are. You've got some dumb people over there. You know what I mean? I'm not sure how people like this are able to get a job. But we should continue.
I only look at
hang on a second.
You
said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen your hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet. And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
the fact that, Elon Musk is a very smart guy, but the fact this guy didn't think to, he obviously he was wanted to try and make Elon look stupid. Like, I'm not even sure what this guy's name is. If anyone can tell me, please.
That's a false.
No, what I
You
claimed,
just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my
Give me
feed
one
or
example.
not, I mean, right, and
Literally
if you
can't
look at
name
something
one.
like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK, they will say that. So
Look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a
Right.
single example, and you can't name one.
right, and as I already said, I don't use that feed. But
Well, then how would you know that?
I don't think this is getting
You
anywhere.
literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
That's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know there's hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time.
Wow.
Pathetic. And the Legion of Memers, actually, I saw something video. I'm going to pull it up. And what a pathetic beta. What a pathetic beta. Got destroyed by an actual Chad in the form of. Alright. No green rock. So, Superman, if you wouldn't get a green rock, you get a shout out. You get a shout out for this. Hang on if I can get it.
Weeks.
Well, then how did you see the hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Why you always lying?
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen that for you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
The fuck you lying?
And I'm saying,
Then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet. And yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
That's a false.
no. What I
You
claimed,
just lied.
What? No.
100.
Weeks ago.
Oh my God. That's awesome. Oh. But that is, the mainstream is dying. The mainstream is 100% dying. I was actually just watching the Alex Jones show. He was commenting on the whole, but Bush. I forgot what yeah, I don't drink beer. I wouldn't even drink that crap. That, ugh, just me thinking about it makes me want to be nauseated. But let's see. Hang on. Oh yes. Also, I got a special follow from Officer Salvatore Greco, good friend of Roger Stone and an American. Hang on. Sorry, I thought I got a notification. Well, but a text message. It was a telegram. I just turned off my phone just so I won't get any more. So nothing will disrupt us. Nothing. But please go follow him if you are at least somewhat well versed. And also, no, this is not that. Oh, here's actually some of the Tucker.
Last week you're in
So,
New York.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna get hit by this, but I'll play it anyway.
Last week you were in New York for this arraignment. The world watched it. You've not given an interview since. You were there, I think, 57 minutes. Tell us from your perspective what that was like.
They were incredible. When I went to the courthouse, which is also a prison in a sense, they signed me in. And I'll tell you, people were crying. People that work there, professionally work there, that have no problems putting in murderers, and they see everybody. It's tough, tough place. And they were crying. They were actually crying. They said, I'm sorry.
Maybe. Hang on. There's a couple of. There's this one which he gave about Joe Biden. It's 9 minutes. We're probably not going to watch the full thing. Let's just see how we're doing. We are good, it appears. Oh, not real, because we've really got. Oh, although we do have a like. We do have some like. So this is getting out. There, I say there's at the bottom. There's that tech that says, click the button. Do the normal things that you would do, just to signal boost it to the algorithm. But let's play.
Do you think Biden will stay in the race?
Look, I watch him just like you do. And I think it's almost inappropriate for me to say it. But I deal with other people. I don't see how it's possible. And it's not an age thing. They like to say, I have friends that are 88, 89, 92. Bernie Marcus, Home Depot, is 95. Smart as hell. He's sharp as he
Newsflash, my grandma is 90 and she's sharper than Biden.
was. I mean, he's, mentally, Bernie Marcus, Home Depot, founder of Home Depot, one of the founders. I mean, I had a meeting with him a few months ago. He was 100%. I know people that built their fortunes from 80 to 90. They were always struggling, and they made a fortune from 80 to 90. A couple of people in particular. It's amazing. He's not too old. His age. I think they do the age thing because I'm 4 or 5 years behind. They say this is a way of getting Trump. Let's go home. But there's something wrong. I saw his answer today on television about whether or not he was going to run to a very nice guy named Al Roker. I mean, you can't get a softer question than that. That was a long answer, talking about the eggs and the this and that. Look, I don't think he can. But say what you want. They didn't expect him to get it. Yeah. People could say he won an election. It always goes, I got the most votes of any person, any sitting president in history. I was told if I got 15 million less, I couldn't lose. They're surrounded by vicious, smart people, radical left people, but they're very smart and they're very vicious. It's not him. It's not him. He's now in Ireland. He's not going to have a news conference. When the world is exploding, I own property in Ireland. I'm not going to Ireland. The world is exploding around us. You could end up in a third world war.
Oh, that's another thing. Biden's in Ireland right now. When America's having
this guy's going to be.
When America's having problems, Joe Biden, he's in Ireland, not in the United States. Oh, I didn't even know this. Hang on. So, according to several sources, Charlie Kirk, we got Fox.
All right, breaking at this hour, all new at 2. President Biden on the ground in Ireland, his motorcade making his way through the streets there after a stunning security breach during the president's trip to Ireland.
Yeah, sensitive security information with details of President Biden's travels reportedly going missing, then later showing up tossed in the street. So who found those documents and who exactly dropped the ball here?
Are you actually kidding me? Joe Biden can't keep his document, and there's stuff that's going on. Oh. This looks like it's out of the. This looks like it's on move. But that looked like, what's the film? In the Name of the Father. It looked like the opening scene from that film. I mean, what on earth is going on? This administration sucks. Oh my. God, this administration is a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. Like, what on earth is going on with us? What on earth is going on? Hang on. Let me actually get this up. I don't get it. How can you be that incompetent as to lose important documents? It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame. It's a real shame that our country has to be like this. Because you're screwed. You're really screwed. I can't take it anymore. It's one of the worst situations ever. Imagine if this was Trump. If the Trump administration, if Trump officials lost travel documents, you would never hear the end of it. They'd probably try to impeach him He'd probably try to impeach him. You'd have the corrupt prosecutors like Alvin Bragg going after Trump for that. I mean, I guess it could be, but this is not right. Biden loses the nuclear code? Oh, it's no big deal. He's a nice guy. Give him a chance, Obama said. And when Biden won. Mad. I can't believe this is the state of the country. America is such a screwed up nation. We are really screwed. I did not know that, but actually continue with the interview.
Ireland and not having a news conference. He hasn't had a news conference, I guess, in months. I saw today where I guess it's been.
Well, he can't. So if he doesn't run, if he's taken out by his own party, or who knows what happens, but it doesn't seem like he's capable of running again, who does run?
Well, obviously the one that they would talk about would be the vice president, Kamala. That would be the one that they talk about. But I don't think she's performed well on the big stage. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. But there are a certain group of people that will go crazy if it's not her. They're going to be very angry if it's not her. That's a problem. You have a very ambitious guy in California, but he's done a terrible job with the state. I used to get along great with him, when I was president. I got along really good, Gavin.
Well, you got along with Gavin Newsom?
I did. I really did. He was always very nice to me. He said the greatest things. He would say things like he's doing a great job. Oh, he was very
About
nice.
you?
About me. That's why I could never hit him, because he was so nice to me. It's just laying in wait, right? But I could, he was very nice to me. And relatively speaking, some of them weren't. We did a good job for the governors. But they talk about him. They talk about some others. I just don't see Biden doing it from a physical or a mental standpoint.
Yes.
I don't see it. But it's been a crazy period of time in the world of politics. But he's surrounded by people. They expected Bernie to win. Now, Bernie's older than Biden, whether you like him or not. He's sharp. I watched him being interviewed the other day. He's 100% sharp. He hasn't lost much, if anything, Bernie Sanders. But, he's older. So it's not an age thing. I just don't see him.
So they're trying to prevent you from making it to the general election by tying you up in lawsuits, charging you with crimes. You've described the process.
The old Soviet process.
The old Soviet process. And you've described it as illegitimate. If this goes to trial and you get convicted, how would you respond in the middle of a presidential campaign?
Well,
how would you?
So off, a statute of limitation, years off. It's hard to believe. Usually when you have something like this, the Democrats say, oh, he's terrible, guilty. The Democrats have even said, I'm innocent. I watched some of these. I think it was Andrew McCabe, the FBI guy who I fired. He came out, he said, they've got no case. They've all come out and said it. And then you've had Andrew McCarthy, you've had Jonathan Turley, Greg Jarrett, Dershowitz, all of them, everybody, and they're, down the middle people. They see it. They say, there's no crime. There's no anything. Think of it, Tucker. I've been through 7 years of bull investigations, 7 years. They've looked at, I have a very big company, much bigger than they understand. In fact, when they finally got my taxes, they said, whoa. You know, they took them years to get the taxes. They got them. That was the last you ever heard. You never heard one thing about them. But it took them years to get them because they shouldn't be looking at my taxes. I was surprised the Supreme Court gave them the right. They shouldn't be looking at people. That's sort of another one of the tenets. You don't do that. But I didn't care that much. I just, on principle, I fought them. And they looked. I built a great company. When you do the things that I do, and you employ thousands and thousands of people over the years, just thousands, we've done a great job. And then I ran for president. People were surprised that I won, but I used to see these rallies, and I'll tell you, the rallies are bigger now. The enthusiasm is more now than I've ever seen.
So what do you think, since your poll numbers have risen consistently since they raided this place, Mar-a-Lago?
Well, before they raided,
in August,
they were going up substantially before.
Well, they definitely moved
since
that.
Then they've really been going up.
So how do you think that your opponents will respond?
I don't know how well. We have two opponents. We have a primary opponent. We have a general election opponent.
I mean the Democratic Party using the legal system.
Well, what they're doing is they're finding, and think of this, they say 11 million pages, but whatever it is, through all of these Democrats' investigations. I had the Mueller hoax. I had impeachment hoax #1, impeachment hoax #2, Ukraine, Russia. You knew the Russia. I got that whole term from you. Russia. You'd be screaming and it'd say, this guy's a comedian. But you remember that whole period of time.
Quite well.
It turned out to be a total. But think of this, I tell this story very seldom, but because it's a sad story. So the Russia hoax was made up by crooked Hillary Clinton, Adam Schiff, the DNC, the Democrat Party. The dossier is a total fake thing. We're suing them now, as you know, on that. We're suing them a lot because, unfortunately, Bill Barr didn't have the courage to do what he should have done. He was so afraid of being impeached. So I have to do it civilly. I have to sue people. The Justice Department should have done, because these are criminals. But think of this. So you have all of these millions and millions of pages, and they get you on a non-disclosure agreement? I mean, big numbers, billions and billions of dollars, right? And they get you on a perfect non-disclosure agreement, where they get you on nothing. A friend of mine who's a big business guy said, you have to be the most honest guy in the world, because with all of those numbers that you have and those big numbers, they don't have anything. And you have to see, take a look at the people I just mentioned. Read what they said. There was no crime. In fact, a lot of people saying, he indicted somebody, there's no crime. That's illegal to do, what he did. So I don't see it going. I mean, we'll have to see.
So, but just to bottom line it, the purpose of this is to keep you out of the presidential race.
If I weren't running, or if I had bad poll numbers, let's say.
Right.
And again, remember, the Democrats are the party of disinformation. If they want you to run, if they want to run against somebody, they're going to go the opposite. For instance, they don't want to run against. And now, I just gave you a poll. I'm 9 points up on Biden. But they're the party of disinformation. So what they say is, oh, we want to run against Trump. Now, they always do that. They do that. And other people would do it, but they do it pretty much better than others.
Is there anything they could throw at you legally that would convince you to drop out of the race? If you get convicted in this case in New York,
no, I'd never drop out. No, I'd never drop. It's not my thing. I wouldn't do it.
And also, we got other news. So apparently, Trump is going to be suing his former lawyer, Michael Cohen. That little POA. because Michael Cohen's a liar. He is such a liar. I mean, he literally lied about a law. So let's see. And this was during politics, but initially reported by Fox News. So I don't think he's former. I think he actually did one, but that's beyond the point. So U.S. President Donald Trump has filed a $50 million lawsuit against his former lawyer, Michael Cohen. According to a source familiar with Trump's legal team, the lawsuit against Cohen is unrelated to the Manhattan DA's case. Trump is seeking damages from Michael Cohen for a compensatory actual and punitive losses. Cannot read. I cannot read. The lawsuit state this is an action arising from Cohen multiple breaches of fiduciary duty, unjust enrichment, conversion, and breaches of contract by virtue of past services as Trump's employee and attorney. So, and I mean, they say it's not related. It is, because they tried to bring Michael Cohen as a witness and they're trying to bring him in this whole trial, the horse-faced Stormy trial. This is we just keep getting new. And also, let's get news I wanted to cover. I haven't seen this yet, so let's actually. This is from Fox and Friends, and I'm actually good. You know what, Mike Pence? You know what, Mike Pompeo? Go ahead and run. Ron DeSantis, announce. All of you who are going to try to dethrone my man Trump, go ahead and announce it. You weren't going to win anyway, but you're going to lose so much. Trump will be up here and you're going to be down right here. You can't even see. He's already. What I just did was get. All right.
Launch the exploratory committee. Obviously, you're going to run for president. Currently, on the Republican side, Donald Trump is leading in all the polls for the most part. Obviously, you wouldn't be getting in unless you thought you could beat him. What is your plan to do that?
There's no doubt that along.
I'll spoil it for you. He doesn't have a plan. He isn't going to beat Trump. Trump is going to take him, Mike Pence, Meatball DeSantis, is Nikki Haley, and all the rest, except the other guy of I can't pronounce his name. I can't. His name is off the top of my Ramus on the Indian guy. I'm frustrated that I can't pronounce his name, but let's continue.
The path of my Faith in America tour, what I've heard is that people truly want to have a conversation about their future. I'll tell you the truth. My life literally.
Yes, they do, but is that future
really is only possible here in America. I like to call it made in America. When you start in a single parent household, mired in poverty, you watch your mother work 16-hour days, you question whether or not this will work for you. You question, you become angry. I had all the challenges on the wrong side of the tracks. I thank God Almighty that I had mentors and a mother who believed that prayer was the key and faith unlocks those doors. They never surrendered. They always believed the best was coming. I want to share that message. I want to share the gospel truth that faith in America means faith in each other, faith in God, and faith in our future.
So, Senator, are you answering my question about how you beat?
He even points it out. Oh my God, these rhinos are gonna eat each other alive. It's gonna be glorious. It's gonna be absolutely glorious, or as Drunk 3PO like to say, absolutely amazing.
Donald Trump by saying that your personal story is what's going to sell you to the American people?
He's like, oh wait, this. Oh, I forgot. I'm supposed to run for. This ain't the book tour.
What I'm saying in response to your question is that the field of play is focusing on President Biden's failures. What Americans want to see is.
Yes, but you should also focus. If you could focus on Trump's success. Oh wait, that means you're validating Trump, who can run on his successes in his 4 years.
Is a contrast between the radical left and the blueprint to ruin America and why our policies actually work. I believe.
You mean Trump's policies? You mean Trump's policies on immigration? I know taxes were a big thing, all of that. So you're talking about that, right?
That Psalms 139 tells us that we are all uniquely and fearfully made. If we focus on our uniqueness, we focus on our path to where we are, I believe we give the voters a choice on so that they can decide how we move forward as opposed.
All right, but can you give us some policy? Like, what are you going to tell the voters? Tim Scott, what are you going to tell the voters? I guarantee you this guy, if he was asked on something like Ukraine or, I don't know what his border policy is, he'd probably give you a typical rhino answer because this is what this guy is. He's a rhino. He says good things, but he doesn't do that. He votes the opposite way. He's like Lindsey Graham, Cruz, Finn, and a lot of these people. You're never going to, because even in the America First, there are those people. I guarantee you, there are those representatives even in America First. I mean, you saw Chip Roy literally stabbed America First in the back. I think I was able to see that for a while. But when he was one of those first people to abandon Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert and vote for McCarthy. Remember that? You remember that? He was one of those, he was so staunch, like, oh, we're not bulging. He bulged. And to be fair, yes, Matt Gaetz did, but he got most of his demands. That's when he was guaranteed. That's when you do it. This is all ridiculous.
Those are trying to have a conversation about how to beat a Republican. I think we're better off having a conversation about beating Joe Biden.
And don't focus on running now. Wait till 2028 and back President Trump. This is why the left keeps winning. They are unified in their hatred of Trump and his base. Republicans are squish. You know what? You're either with MAGA or you're with the left and the establishment. I'm done. I'm tired of us grouping people like Tim Scott into our group. I'm done with it. Gotta start just assuming that he's as bad as they are. We can't, because he isn't that bad. He says he doesn't want to chop off your son's ball or do bad things to your little girls. I'll trust him on that. I don't think he's as bad as some of those people are, but still, he's kind of complicit. He only just says this stuff. If Tim Scott can actually deliver on policy, he can actually, hey, obviously I'm voting for Trump, but he could secure his place as at least secure a place in his cabinet, maybe if he's lucky, vice president, but he's not going to win 2024. He's got to wait till 2020, and that's what DeSantis. And there's a tweet. I'm not going to put it because I just don't. But it was from me. I said that let this be a lesson. Do not I will show it, actually. I'm going to show it. Let me get it up. Let me get it up. Because I know when I start to have detractors, they're going to be like, oh, he's not showing this or that. If I can get it, I can find it. Gotta be somewhere here. That's strange. I can't find it. Sorry. But also there's this thing, and I want people to be careful further on. And I know we want to be safe, and we want to have safe social media. We want verifiable fact check source. Well, I didn't and need to. And unfortunately, a lot of people fell for this. I'm disappointed to say. A lot of people
people
fell.
might be surprised to hear
So this is clearly, I could just tell.
me say this, but I actually like Ron DeSantis a lot. Yeah, I know. I'd say he's just the
just
kind of
look
guy
at-
this country needs, and I really mean that. If Ron DeSantis got installed as president, I'd be fine with that. I mean, the one thing
It's so clearly fake, but unfortunately, people on the right also fell for that. So I want people on the right. We've got to be better at this. You can't fall for all of this.
know about Ron is that when push comes to shove, Ron does what he's told. And I can't think of anything more important than that. Hail Hydra. You know, people.
Yeah, look, people actually, there are people who I think fell for this, and yeah, it can get harder to tell. And that's another thing. Just use your common sense. Use your brain that God gave you. Use it. And she even says Hail Hydra at the end. You think Hillary's actually going to say that? No. No. Just, it's kind of frustrating. It really kind of is frustrating that there were people who actually, they just watched the first part of it and they just assumed that was real. They didn't watch the full thing, is what I'm getting at. But I guess we can move on to our last topic, Russia and Ukraine. And we are hitting the hour mark. So yeah. Let me actually get something up. And I'm getting this from a lot of Telegram. They do seem to be very pro-Russia. Well, I mean, over time I've become, but that's beyond the point. So, and this is saying, so let me just say this: Alex Jones was right. Alex Jones was 100% right, and for several months he was saying this. You know, tomorrow I'm going to have to do a shorter. I'm probably going to keep it under an hour tomorrow, this stream. But I'll share this. So U.S. Special Forces in Ukraine embassy officials confirm. And according to Alex Jones, actually, and you know, I'll get I think there's for months he was saying this. I don't think he's up. Oh, here.
forces. There's massive amounts of weapons, and U.S. troops are in Ukraine. They're in Ukraine. They train Ukrainians. NATO forces are there. Australians are there. Brits are there. Germans are there. Dutch are there. And it is a full-on war. They've got a bunch of former British and U.S. generals all over the news. I got a stack of them right here saying, time to go ahead and just have war with Russia. Time to go ahead and just send in the U.S. military. Time to take the A-10s out of mothballs and just kill all the Russians. And the State Department, the CIA, and NATO are all there training these troops right now. It's been going on even before the Russians invaded. Americans are in charge of the war, says French journalist who returned from Ukraine. A French journalist who returned from Ukraine after arriving with volunteer fighters told broadcaster C News that Americans are directly in charge of the war on the ground. The assertion was made by Le Figaro's senior international correspondent, George Malbrant. It continues. Malbrant said he had accompanied French volunteer fighters, two of whom had previously fought against ISIS. I had the surprise, and so did they, to discover that to be able to enter the Ukrainian army, well, it's the Americans who are in charge, he said. The video is posted right there on Infowars.com where you can watch it. Adding that he and the volunteers almost got, quote, arrested by the Americans who asserted they were in charge. The journalist then revealed that they were forced to sign a contract until the end of the war. And who is in charge? It's the Americans. I saw my own eyes, he said, adding, I thought I was with the international brigades, and I found myself facing the Pentagon. And they're announcing that they're already sending in Polish and U.S. troops who are fighting. And I just talked to some military people this morning who just returned. They said it's full on like World War II. Just absolute destruction, dead bodies everywhere. Russians annihilating, Russians getting annihilated, just tank battles. This is full on war, folks. That's why you're not seeing a lot of it or hearing about it. It is just full on war. We're at war with Russia right now. Since October of last year, the U.S. troops have been directly not just training Ukrainians in Ukraine, but also in Poland with all sorts of high-tech Class A weapons, but they've also been in the field commanding them and directing them and piloting short-range drones. But now, because the losses on the U.S. side are starting to become quite large, they're going to go ahead and admit that the U.S. is officially at war with Russia.
We are, and recently, let me actually go and get something because I am thirsty. I'm going to go and get a drink. So, as I was saying, Bakhmut, which was one of the key cities in the Donbass area, had recently fallen, and so, well, that's interesting. So, according to this, and I'm not sure how true this is, but Zelensky is ready to transfer several west regions of Ukraine into Poland in exchange for assistance. Guys, this is dangerous. Like, I actually made a tweet last night, and I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to share the tweet I made because that probably is key. I'm So if a nuclear bomb goes off in Poland in the next few months, it'll be the Americans who do it, but they will blame the Russians in order to start a war with Russia because the war is not going well. Now, here's a theory I came up with why the Russians are taking their time. And yes, it is logistic. The Russians are having a problem, but they are overcoming. That's what the Russians had to do in the Second World War. That's what they did with Napoleon. When they did during their wars with the Turks, the Swedes, Poland, Lithuania. That's what Russia does with their army. Starts off on being defeated, but then they come to reorganize, regroup, and they'll usually, in most cases, apart from some, will end up winning the war or in the end, despite taking huge losses. But I think that because we do hear about this Ukraine offensive, and I think it would be suicidal for them. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that, but it would be bad for the Ukrainians to launch an offensive against Russia at this stage in May because they're draining themselves. And we're just talking about the state of them in April. Guys, we don't know how they could look in May when they launched this supposed offensive, which they're like, oh, we're going to take the Crimea back. We're going to bring democracy. Yeah, what democracy? And you're not getting Crimea back. You won't get Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporozhye, I think it's Zaporozhye, and Kherson back. I mean, they took the city of Kherson, but they're not going to get the actual Kherson region. How do they think they're going to get the Crimea? How do they think they're going to get the Crimea? They won't. And when when this offensive ends up costing the Ukrainians heavily, the Russians are going to probably launch a counteroffensive after they've prepared after they've had these defenses that prepared. They're going to go over, and the Ukrainians are going to be depleted. Western tanks are not going to be there coming in a couple months. Western fighters will not be coming in a couple months. And honestly, I'm not a military expert. The only military expertise I have is playing Hearts of Iron 4. But the only thing I can see is maybe the Ukrainians have a desperate defense. Maybe they just need a withdrawal to the Dnieper River, fortify behind that, and try and let the Russians cross. But then Putin could activate the invasion from the north, and Ukraine's going to be in a two-front war. They're going to have the Russians from the east, Belarusians from the north, and also Russians from the south. Because I've been even hearing the Russian plans for a naval operation on Odessa. That's not good for Ukraine. The Ukrainians are going to be devastating. So here's what I think happened. So I see by maybe late summer, early fall, you could see a Russian quick offensive that moves toward, takes a lot of Ukraine. You could even see the fall of Kiev and the Zelensky government, and then you'll see Polish troops begin to occupy the eastern Ukraine. Not eastern, I meant western Ukraine, which are the places Poland claims to have had sovereignty over. So I'm talking about Lviv. There probably will be some provisional government set up. It'll be a convoluted mess, but Poland's probably going to be their next meat grinder. And nothing against the Poles. I've got part Polish in me, but I don't expect them to hold off against a much larger Russian force, which is going to be battle hardened and might even have captured U.S. small arms and anti-tank and anti-air equipment. So the Poles are going to have to face that. And what's going to happen when the Poles inevitably there'll probably be some small scale skirmishes, and inevitably the Poles are going to be forced to retreat. And from there, I think that the deep state, they're going to pull off something dirty, a false flag, and try and blame it. It only takes one nuclear weapon and bang, 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 world's dead. So we should be hoping that some sort of peace deal is reached. Because way things are looking, it's not good. It is not good at all. We're closer. I think I've heard people say we're closer to World War III than the Cuban Missile Crisis. So much is going on, but this is really bad. And also, we've got some news on China and Taiwan. So I'm going to bring that up. Actually, we got a Benny Johnson who pulled a clip from the interview. I'll pause. Present. Share screen.
He has no respect for him. He's a man. If he respects you, he'll respect you. He wouldn't talk to Obama. Obama tried to get meetings with him. He wouldn't meet with him. He met with me. I met with him twice. I would have had a deal worked out with him. He's got tremendous nuclear capability. It's the single biggest problem. Maybe this show's more important than even I thought it might be, because somebody's got to understand what has to happen, and they have to de-escalate.
So how would you do that now?
Well, now, so you have a problem. You got this crazy world is blowing up, and the United States has absolutely no say. And Macron, who's a friend of mine, is over with China, kissing his ass, okay, in China. I said, France is now going to China. You take a look at Saudi Arabia. Look at what happened. They're great people. They wanted to help us. He goes over and gets a fist pump. You know what a fist pump means? Don't shake my hand because your hand's dirty. That's what a fist pump is. They got it. They were so insulted. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Oh, I don't want to shake your hand. Let's go fist pump.
I don't remember that from the area, but I'll take Trump's word for it. It does seem less formal than fist bump. Like, fist bump is something you do with your boys, you know? I mean, you don't do it when you're with foreign leaders, okay? It doesn't seem appropriate. In fact, it seemed kind of inappropriate. Uh, hmm. That's actually, that was more on the side, but let me get. Allegedly, the Chinese have cut their undersea communication, and oh, this is actually good. And so, Doge, I don't think that I'm pronouncing that right, says that China doesn't want war with Taiwan. Taiwan doesn't want war with China. The U.S. wants a war between Taiwan and China. That is true, and you have seen that China do kind of want a peaceful resolution. There definitely could be a peaceful resolution to this. There 100% can be. Problem is, war's a profitable business. And look how long the war in Afghanistan went on for. Look how long Vietnam was. If the military industrial complex and its arms manufacturers aren't getting their money, they're going to be unhappy. They are going to be so unhappy. Let me see if I can bring anything up, because this is a lot of those chips are. Here's the microchip. You can see. And I remember I heard that them say China wouldn't be ready until around 2025 or 2027. Looks like they're about to begin the invasion. The United States is not here. I was just watching this clip. And they do seem kind. Let me actually share screen. Other Benny Johnson.
So for France to do this, especially
the propaganda on Fox as well, China mess. They're trying to get the American people riled up for a war with China. I don't want to go fight the Chinese. I don't want to. Maybe in the past, when I was still kind of brainwashed by the propaganda, I did, but I literally don't want to. China can kick our ass. They are going to kick our ass in the war. They are not like the Japanese. China has manpower and resources. They are going to wipe the floor in the Pacific.
Moment whenever you have seen the United States so behind Europe in the Russian aggression and the war in Ukraine. France has been, let's be honest, France has been doing the minimum whenever there is a war on their own continent. And this is something that I've talked about on this show and have warned for quite some time, that I don't know that the French or Germans are going to be with us in a China fight. Macron has clearly put that now on display for the entire world to see. And so the
U.S. is losing allies worldwide. We're losing our influence. No one's taking us seriously. No one's going to be on our side in a World War III scenario. Only the Five Eyes nations really seem to be. Even that, I'm not even sure how dedicated they are. I mean, you see some countries in Europe, but not all of them.
United States must ask ourselves, who are our friends, who are our allies in the region that would be in a potential fight? And those are the relationships that we need to invest in. So I don't know if Macron was doing this, because he's still angry at AUKUS when the United States got the submarine deal and the French didn't. That's AUKUS is the alliance of Australia, the United Kingdom, the United States, and we got a major submarine deal. I think he's still quite sore over that. This could be part of it. And then just one final point. The Biden administration, I hear this from leaders in Latin America. I hear this from leaders in the Middle East. Every time I speak at a conference, leaders from other parts of the world tell me that the Biden administration is ignoring them in favor of, only focusing or singularly focusing on Europe and what's going on with Ukraine. And while that's incredibly important to spend all this time focused on Europe, but to lose France in any sort of potential fight against China, what have they been doing from a diplomatic perspective?
Well, Morgan, I just want to make sure our viewers don't think their eyes were messing with them. That was the Easter Bunny at the podium at the White House press briefing. That was happening as we are discussing this red threat rising and how we are responding to it. More.
Can't wait to see Biden's woke military go against the Chinese, who, Sun Tzu, Art of War. That was China. I can't wait to see how the woke militaries of the US, UK, and Australia are wiped out by the Chinese. They're going to Java see us, but 10 times worse. It's going to be nasty. I don't see the U.S. winning anywhere with China. Ukraine's going to fall. The U.S. foreign policy is in tatters. Xi Jinping is now negotiating all these peace deals. Someone actually on Twitter, said Xi should get a Nobel Peace Prize. I don't like the guy, but if he's negotiating peace deals, give him the Nobel Peace Prize. Instead, remember when Trump, he negotiated like 4 separate peace deals before the election, and guess what? He doesn't get it. Instead, it's the WHO. Yeah, the globalist WHO gets it. Actual clown world. We are so screwed. As a country, we are so screwed. And NPR is that people got mad when NPR and the New York Times or Washington Post, I can't tell. They're all the same propaganda. The people are like, no, Elon, revoke that government propaganda status. They are not propaganda. They are independent journalism. I was laughing. Like, people actually think these accounts are, these websites are actually the sources of information, reliable sources. These people are making me laugh. They are really making me laugh, but it would be, it would be funny if it weren't so deadly true. You're on the verge of war with Russia. It's really bad. It's awful. It's terrible. Humanity is all of humanity's the good of humanity. Bad stuff is going on, unfortunately. And apparently, Anheuser-Busch has lost apparently it's now $5 billion. I guess get woke, go broke. I just hate when I see Dylan Mulvaney in my freaking phone. Like, I did the word ban on Twitter, but still got them seeing photos. Is there a way to like ban photo from showing up in your timeline? Like, please message Elon on somebody. I don't want to see Dylan Mulvaney face in my timeline ever again. We have some is this his announcement video? All right. I guess we're gonna watch that. I almost hit stop. Present, share screen. Yeah, I'm probably going to end the stream soon. So,
On this day, April 12th, 1861, in this harbor, the first shots of the Civil War were fired.
Yes.
And our country.
Oh, I didn't know that. Today's the anniversary of the start of the Civil War. You know, go watch Razor Fist video if you want the truth about it, because they don't teach you. They teach you Lincoln was, in many ways, yeah, he was, but did a lot of bad things. Go watch Razor Fist video. Actually, let me get it up. Gonna
face the defining moment. Would we truly be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all? America's soul was put to the test, and we prevailed. Today, our country is once again being tested. Once again, our divisions run deep, and the threat to our future is real. Joe Biden and the radical left have chosen a culture of grievance over greatness. They're promoting victimhood instead of personal responsibility, and they're indoctrinating our children to believe we live in an evil country. And all too often, when they get called out for their failures, they weaponize race to divide us, to hold on to their power. When I fought back against their liberal agenda, they called me a prop, a token, because I disrupt their narrative. I threaten their control. They know the truth of my life disproves their lies. See, I was raised by a single mother in poverty. The spoons in our apartment were plastic, not silver. But we had faith, we put in the work, and we had an unwavering belief that we too could live the American dream. I know America is a land of opportunity, not a land of oppression. I know it because I've lived it. That's why it pains my soul to see the Biden liberals attacking every rung of the ladder that helped me climb. If the radical left gets their way, millions more families will be trapped in failing schools, crime-ridden neighborhoods, and crushing inflation. Not on my watch. This is personal to me. I will never back down in defense of the conservative values that make America exceptional. And that's why I'm announcing my exploratory committee for President of the United States. I will defend.
Exploratory committee, you mean your campaign? Try and make it sound fancy. Like, oh, it's an exploratory committee. It's not. I'm just exploring.
In the Judeo-Christian foundation our nation is built on and protect our religious liberty. I will stand up to communist China and restore opportunities for hardworking Americans to thrive.
Will you get rid of the deep state? Are you going to go after the Democrats for their crimes? Are you going to work on rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure? Withdraw our troops from withdraw all of our troops. Like, we need. I know people are going to be against this, but I'm okay with going to full-on isolationism. In fact, I think that should be our policy. Get us out of the UN, get us out of NATO. Only type of foreign agreements are going to be trade agreements. I don't want any U.S. soldiers on foreign grounds again. Okay. I don't want it. All right. There's too much war. There doesn't seem to be room for peace. That's on purpose.
And prosper. I will fight to give every parent a choice in education so their children have a better chance in life.
Why don't you? This is great. He uses Trump's border wall as his. He uses the wall put up by Trump to try and campaign off of. I think this is a grift. I think Tim Scott's a grifter. He's trying to grift off of Trump.
I will defend our borders and
Trump's done that. He is trying to defend but I want to know how you voted whenever Trump tried to on several of Trump's policies, not just the border, but on everything.
And our neighborhood streets. And I will protect our most fundamental right, the right to life itself. I bear witness that America can do for anyone what she's done for me. But we must rise up to the challenges of our time. This is a fight we must win. And that will take faith. Faith in God, faith in each other, and faith in America. God bless our United States of America, and God bless you.
Yeah. No chance. He doesn't have a chance. This man has no chance. And it's going to be Trump who's the nominee. And I want people to start taking names. Okay? I want you to start taking names. You hear me? Remember who these people are. Whenever these people who are snake, know them by their, no, you must know them. I forgot what the quote was, but it was a Bible quote, know a leopard by its spot. I forgot what the quote is off the top of my head, but just because one minute they're not for Trump, then another they say, oh, yeah, I actually agree. I think we need to do, like, get the hell out of here. You were so vigorously anti-Trump. We need to shun these people. They will not, they have to earn their way back in. They need to know what loyalty is. We're not going to just let them back in willy-nilly. They need to pledge their loyalty to Trump. It's simple as that. Why do you think Laura Loomer gets attacked by the so-called conservative? Because she's a loyalist. She is loyal. We need to be loyal like Loomer. And I think that's a pretty good way to end it. Yeah, let me just check some notifications. We got one from a Crispy. Yeah. So just somebody wrote they want to get Jackson Hink on Timcast and Mike Crusty. I put out I also gonna try and get them onto Jeremy. If you're watching this later, I might have just gotten you a guest. Or possibly two guests. But yeah, I think that is a good place. And thank to all who came in, who are going to watch this later for watching. Feel free to take clips out of the video and post them online and post them to social media. I very much appreciate it. I don't know how to clip things out. I'm got so much going on. I just have time to do that. But anyway, share the stream once it's share the archive of the stream. Take care. God bless. And I will see you tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.